'cause I wanna know what you're thinking. I know we're taking it slow, but it's the way you move your lips and how words roll off your tongue that's got me speechless. Wanna sit and talk to them more. I'm crazy about you and every little thing that you do. I wanna talk, sit, cuddle, make love, baby, or sit in silence. Oh, has anybody ever told you about your eyes? The way you move your lips, baby, when you cry. Tell me, baby, I wanna be with you, you wanna be with me. We should get together, baby, we should have some kids. Hey, baby, I'm here, my wife, okay now. 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 I love it when you ask me how I'm doing today. You love to check in, I get lost, I get in my way. But it's the way you move your lips and how words roll off your tongue that's got me speechless. Wanna sit and talk to the moon. I'm crazy about you and every little thing that you do. I wanna talk, sit, cuddle, make love, baby, or sit in silence. Oh, has anybody ever told you about your eyes? The way you move your lips, baby, when you cry. Tell me, baby, I wanna be with you, you wanna be with me. Hey, we should get together, baby, we should have some kids. Baby, I'm here, my wife, okay now. 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 I love your face, your grace, your waist, and how you dance on your toes. You got that good stuff, type of love that make me wiggle my nose. You give me fire and desire, make me conquer my foes. You have my heart,
Kim Griswold was unavailable to be here today. She covers our West Tennessee area. Beth Hardiman with TAUD. Miss Beth, are you here? She's at the registration table. Angie Shoemate with Madison Suburban. There's Miss Angie. Lisa Sforza, she's with West Knox. She was unavailable to be here today. And Miss Casey York with Cumberland Insurance Agency. Casey, she may be at the registration table as well. And now I'm going to introduce Miss Angel. She wants to enlighten us about something fun. We always try to do fun things. Bracelet. If you don't, please raise your hand and someone will bring one to you. So those bracelets are going to be used to vote for the best hat. What you'll do is we're doing lunch and we're mingling and talking to each other. When you see the hat that you love the most, give that person your bracelet. At the end, we'll do a count. That's how we'll win. Feel free to vote for me.
Okay, ladies, before we begin lunch, let's just take a moment and have our blessing. Heavenly Father, we thank you for bringing us together today and the opportunity to connect and support each other as women in our industry. We thank you for the talents, ideas, and determination that you've placed on each one of us. Help us to honor you in our workplaces and homes and remind us to encourage and uplift each other. We now ask that you bless this food and the hands that prepared it, bless it to our bodies, and bless our speakers and our time together this afternoon. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, just a quick note on how lunch will be served. Tables will be dismissed a few at a time, so please listen for your table numbers to be called. In addition to lunch, we invite you to place your bets, if you have not, for the upcoming Manager Derby game, which you all are going to love. So place your bets is back here at the red curtains. If you haven't, try to go ahead and make sure that you get all that done. The first set of tables is going to go straight to the food line. The second set of tables I dismiss can go over there and vote if you haven't. Once the first group's returned, then we'll start dismissing other tables. So I'll do the first three in the back. Y'all are dismissed. So the first can go get their food and the other two can take their bets, place their bets, and then we'll dismiss from there. And we will turn our presentation, our lunch speaker once everybody's kind of settled. And then we'll have our first presentation. Thank you. Enjoy your lunch.
myself wondering, what did happen to the last 10? I ran away with my life, fast forward, never turn back again. It's kind of funny that the more we pass time, the more we need to set them rewind. And 19 was the year I had to leave you, but now I'm seeing all the signs. Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just as surprised as you. Is this really happening? I can't be too sure, but one day I'll be yours again. Life lessons come one in a dozen. The other 11 get something from nothing. I sit here looking for an answer. Maybe the biggest question was in the last chapter. You gave me the soul I have today. Without you I never could have moved away. But now I see what you teach. I do believe I always should have stayed. Yeah. Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just as surprised as you. Is this really happening? I can't be too sure.
Just waiting for a few more ladies to trickle in. All right, everyone, if I can have your attention. I think we have a few more ladies still trickling in with their food. That is quite all right. One quick little announcement. If you registered past the deadline, or if you were a late register just in general, maybe you just showed up today and you did not get a goodie bag, please check back in with us at the end of the event. We may have a few extra, no guarantees, but check just in case. I know we've got a lot of fun things in there. So check at the registration table at the very end of the event if you did not get a goodie bag. So. Well, welcome once again. It is such an honor to be here with you all. My name is Jenna Hazlett. I am, as Ashley said, one of the committee members, and it is my honor to introduce to you today a woman who exemplifies dedication, leadership, and service, both to her community and to the state of Tennessee as a whole. Renee Jones is a proud East Tennessee native who has worn many hats, very fitting, a farmer, business owner, mother, and now state legislator. Since 2024, she has represented District 4, which includes Unicoi and Carter counties, in the Tennessee House of Representatives. Pretty incredible. Renee serves as president of Jones and Church Farms, a family business founded in 1975 that has earned national recognition for its premium farm fresh tomatoes. Yum. It is a true East Tennessee success story. But Renee's leadership extends far beyond the field. With over a decade of service on the Unicoi County School Board, including time as president of the Tennessee School Board Association, she has been a tireless advocate for rural education, working hand in hand with state legislators to strengthen opportunities for students across the state. Quite a lady. Please join me in welcoming the Representative Renee Jones.
Be here with such a strong group of women today. And I love the excitement and the enthusiasm and the hats. I've been watching you all as you network with each other, and it just seems like you're having a great big family reunion today. And so it's very exciting to see that. I will first apologize for my voice, as a lot of I'm going to talk about is persistence and dedication. And I have persisted with this congestion and cough for over 2 weeks now, and I'm about over it. But we will persist through. And I said, what doesn't kill us makes us stronger, right? So that's what we know as women. For those of you that I haven't met yet, my name is Renee Jones, and I proudly serve as the state representative for Unicoi and Carter counties in Northeast Tennessee. I want to first start off by thanking Ashley for inviting me to speak to you ladies today. When she first called me a couple months ago, I'm thinking, what can I share with these ladies that they don't already know? But sometimes it's not about something new. It's about feeling validated. It's about understanding that we all go through the same struggles and we all have different successes, but we share the things that we persistence being one that we always work towards. So I hope that today you find something that's inspiring and that you take away something that you can use in your future careers as well. As a woman in agriculture and politics, I want to share my experiences in a traditionally male-dominated world. I know I don't work in water, but I think we'll share the same challenges and struggles as we go through how I got to where I am today. As you know me now, I'm a state lawmaker and I represent District 4. And our sessions run, we in the state legislature, we are in session from January to May. And then year round, our focus is on constituent services. And so year round, we're working to resolve any issues that our constituents may be having, whether it be roads, SNAP benefits, recovery efforts from the Hurricane Helene, and anything else that our constituents need. Sometimes it's just a driver's license issue that we can help them connect the dots, make their life a little easier and a little better. Is what I'm there to do. I first want to stop and say I know this organization was very helpful in sending relief efforts our way during Hurricane Helene. And I just want to say thank you personally for what you did during that event or during the disaster and your prayers and your thoughts and anything that the water that you may have sent, whatever you sent to us during that time, let me assure you it was very much appreciated. And from the bottom of our hearts, we really do appreciate the thoughts and the kindness that you've shown during that time. But it's been quite a journey to get to where I am to today. So it was one that started about 90 miles northeast of here on a little small farm in Unicoi County. My family's farm began as a diversified farm, like many farms began. My dad started in 1960. Well, he was a postmaster. He carried the mail and decided that he didn't like that job too well, so he was going to go farm. And so in early 60s, he started farming, and I grew up on that small farm, and it was we raised cattle. We did hay, tobacco, tomatoes, strawberries, and pumpkins. Now, if you're a pumpkin farmer in this or know anybody that's a pumpkin farmer, let me tell you, that is a challenging crop to grow. So again, my hat's off to those folks because they have a lot of interesting challenges. But some of my greatest memories are growing up on the farm. One of my personal favorites was when I was about 4 years old. I would always ride the highboy, and I would be on the top with my dad as he drove it through the tomato rows, and my mom and my aunts would be down on the lower level harvesting the tomatoes with their buckets in between their legs as they ride through there and pick those tomatoes. And when they got their bucket full, we would stop and they would put the bucket off to the side of the road, and my job was to hand them a empty bucket. Now, sometimes it might land where it was supposed to, and sometimes it might land somewhere else. But I was just 4, right? You couldn't expect too much. But it was a good time because I would remember when we would stop for lunch, my favorite thing to do was hide in the tomato bushes. And my dad would get so mad at me because it was so hard to find things in those big bushes. So he finally said, "You're going to have to start singing so that I can find you." So the first time we had to do that, the song I picked was Jesus Loves Me. And so they could hear me, and I can't sing. I can't carry a tune in a bucket, but they could hear me all over the field. And when they found me, I had a loaf of bread and my Vienna sausage singing Jesus Loves Me at the top of my lungs. So that was they like to tell that story when I was campaigning. That was one of my family's favorite stories to tell. So we did have a good time, and that's the thing about the farm. You work hard, but you also have a lot of fun memories, just like I'm sure you all have great stories that you can tell with your colleagues as you work in your industry. So it's a time that I will greatly treasure, and what started my love for agriculture. So in my teenage years, I was in the 4th grade, and I'll never forget it. No, I'm sorry, the 6th grade, and we had a lady we had an issue in on our tomato plants that at this point, we kinda started transitioning to tomatoes and strawberries because, you know, initially we were diversified because we needed that year-round income. But as our farm began to grow, we realized we needed to focus on those high value cash crops. So we started focusing on strawberries and tomatoes. And we had a lady come in from a chemical company that we had an issue with our plants, and we had like a leaf miner on the leaf, and it was literally the leaf miner mined through the leaves of the plants, and it reduced your yields, and it was not good. But what had happened was they had sprayed a chemical that destroyed the predators that ate the leaf miners. So therefore, we had a leaf miner infestation, and she knew it just like that. And I was so impressed by that. And I said, "Well, what is your job? What is your career?" And she said she was a horticulturalist. So I thought, okay, couldn't hardly pronounce that at that time, but okay, that's what I'm going to be. So I moved on through high school, deciding through elementary age, and decided that's what I was going to do until I got to high school. And as I started looking, and I was supposed to be changing my slides during this thing. I am so sorry. I'm not good at this. There's the early days on the farm. Okay, so as we moved through college, got ready for college, I realized that I really liked the idea that we took into account the other populations of things that might be there. And so the one thing that I realized was that integrated pest management was a career that, that actually considered the economical feasibility and the environmental aspects and practical ways to protect our crops from pests. So I decided that's what I was going to do. And like every East Tennessee girl, I wanted to go to UT, right? Got to be a volunteer at Rocky Top. But unfortunately, they didn't have that program in their ag department there. So I packed my bags and I went to North Carolina State University, where I began to study integrated pest management. Unfortunately, as IPM was like the female of agriculture, I guess you would say, because there wasn't a lot of people that enrolled in that program. And so they canceled the program my junior year. And as it would have it, I aligned really close with horticulture. So I ended up with a horticulture degree, so where I should have started to begin with. But I learned a lot during that time. And, I might be one or two ladies. There may be one or two females in my classes. A lot of times I was the only female in a class. And then you just kind of had to figure that out and navigate through that. A lot of times it was kind of interesting to have a lot of my best friends in school were guys because there wasn't any girls in my class. So my mother always said, "Is that your boyfriend?" And I'm like, "No, that is my best friend. So leave me alone." But yeah, it was a struggle at that time to just kind of to get those scholarships and to get the attention in that world was an interesting, could be challenging at times. But I didn't let it stop me. I never let it bother me. I just decided that this is the life I chose and I'm going to make it successful. And so sometimes it required a little thinking outside the box. Sometimes it required a little more persistence. But that's what we do. We're women. We multitask, we keep the balls in the air, and we move forward. And that's why we are successful in areas where people think we can't be. Um, so the best part of this story is that they did have IPM as a graduate program. So I was able to obtain a scholarship and get into the graduate program at NC State. Now that took me a little bit because they only gave out 5 scholarships, and of course, a lot of the ones that they were looking at were males that had been very successful in FFA and 4-H and all of those other programs, which I had all done as well. So I decided, okay, I've got to do something different. So I found out who the doctor was that made that decision, and his name was Dr. Mike Linker. And I found out where his office was. And so I called and requested an appointment with him, and he was booked. I called the next day and requested an appointment with him, and he was booked. So I thought, So I went to his office, and I literally sat in the floor in front of his door. And so he had to walk over me. And he said, "Can I help you?" And I said, "Yes, I'm interested in a scholarship for your IPM program." Sorry, we haven't made those decisions yet. Do you have your application in? Yes, sir, I do. And he's like, "Well, we'll get back to you." And I said, "No, I want to have a sit down discussion with you. I want to talk to you. I want you to get to know who I am." He said, "We'll be in touch." I said, "Okay." So, but I didn't move. He had to walk back across me when he left that day. The next day, he walked across me. The next day, he had to walk by me. Finally, on day 4, he said, "If I give you 10 minutes, will you go away?" I said, "For the time being." So he gave me 10 minutes, and as luck would have it, I actually got the scholarship. I think he was afraid what I would do next. But despite the hiccups, I was able to get that scholarship, and it was a very big deal because it was extremely competitive and very limited. Not many women chose this career path back in the late 80s, and it was oftentimes the only woman in the class. But I never let that stop me from learning and growing as a woman and a farmer. Persistence has been a characteristic that has served me well, both in my career and politics. I was also blessed to receive a postgraduate internship, and I also got to do some work with a PhD student that he was just amazing. As he had served in the Peace Corps, and he had actually done some aquaculture work. And so this project that we were doing was it was in a hoop greenhouse, and we had 4 fish tanks. And in the fish tanks, we were growing tilapia. And above the tank, we had a sand bed. And then on top of the sand bed, we had tomatoes and cucumbers growing. And so the water would circle up into the sand bed. The fish byproducts would fertilize the tomatoes and the cucumbers. And then the sand would filter the water, and it would go back into the tank and recirculate. Those tomatoes and cucumbers were huge. I've never seen anything that big. And so I got really concerned, and I was like, "Mark, I'm really concerned about the weight of this produce on the top of this hoop house. I'm afraid it's going to bring it down." He's like, "Oh, no, Renee, we do this all the time. This is no problem." And I'm like, "Well, okay, but I'm really worried about it." And he was like, "No, it's fine." Well, about the end of that week, I was always in charge of feeding the fish over the weekend. That was my job. And he called me and he said, "We're giving you the weekend off." And I said, "Why?" He's like, "Well, you haven't been home. You need to go home." I was like, "Well, okay." So I was telling my dad, "Hey, I got the weekend off." He said, "You probably want to go buy that greenhouse before you leave." And sure enough, it was laying on the ground. They didn't want me to know that. So they gave me a few days off so that I didn't have to say, "Told you so, told you so." But those were the things that, we just get through and we enjoy, and every time you get a win, you need to celebrate it. I also worked in the Peanut Council and was my postgraduate work, and that was really fun too. I didn't know a lot about peanuts. That crop was always interesting to me because it was so outside of the realm of tomatoes. But I met a grower there, Mr. Thigpen, and he was from Tarboro, North Carolina. We don't have anybody from North Carolina, do we? No. Well, he was a great guy, but he was very set in his ways. And the first time he saw me, he's like, "You don't know anything about the peanut farm. I don't think I want you on my farm." And I'm like, "Well, I hate to hear you say that, but I'm here to learn from you. I want you to teach me." And as soon as I was able to massage that ego of his and let him understand that I did need to learn from him, and I did learn a lot from him. So we had a great relationship, and I still, up until his death, still had a lot of conversations with him. The friends and the relationship that you make along the way, that's what makes life count. That's what makes us who we are. And I enjoyed all of those relationships that I made. So I went back to the farm, and I worked with my dad, Carl Jones, for over 30 years. He died in 2022, and I have still not forgiven him yet for leaving me with this crazy mess. But we are doing the best we can, and I think he would be happy with where we are. But tackling we tackled daily obstacles of labor. Tomatoes are very labor intensive. We have 230 employees on the farm, and it's very labor intensive. And so those struggles of, like you all deal with, employee disgruntlements, people being unhappy, wages, labor, all of that stuff. It's always a daily struggle. Regulations through the USDA and all the different government agencies, quality control, shipping logistics, you name it. We have 600 acres of fresh market tomatoes. We pack out over 1,000,000 25-pound boxes in a 90-day period. And we ship all over the United States, up into Canada, down into Puerto Rico, Trinidad. We do 20% cruise line business, and we also ship into Texas. So we have an East Tennessee market niche for tomatoes, and we have a high quality tomato. And folks, we are the largest tomato grower in the state of Tennessee. And a fun fact is Tennessee is 8th in the nation for production of tomatoes. So those were the days there was a day that there wasn't a day go by that you didn't use every tool in your toolbox. As I was raising my children, I realized the value of giving back to our community. And they say it takes a village, and I'm sure you all can agree with that. That's Nick and Laura, my daughter, and my 2 grandchildren with me. And that was on the day that I was sworn in to office in January. But, we all know it takes a village, and I was very active in our church, very active in our school system. So I ran for school board, and I was the Girl Scout leader, the Boy Scout Cub den mother, team mom for baseball, softball, and volleyball. And I will just say, if you're a volleyball mom, bless you. That's a hard sport for those girls, or a cheerleader mom. Now, I never was a cheerleader mom, but I hear that one's a tough one too. But those jobs are important. They're important for our children, and I appreciate that involvement that you have in those roles, because they're very important for our children. So somehow, with all the free time I had between running my farm and raising a family, I felt called by the Lord to begin serving the community in a higher level. I started my career in public service in 1999 when I was appointed to chairwoman of the Unicoi County Soil Conservation District. I also served as Unicoi Farm Bureau president for over 10 years. And for more than a decade, I served on the Unicoi County School Board and was Tennessee's school board president for 2 years. On the state level, I was blessed with the opportunity to serve Governor Haslam's Advisory Council for Alternative Education, where we evaluated the existing programs and reviewed their curriculum to recommend any changes to improve the outcomes. I was also on the Rural Challenge Strategic Committee, where we were tasked with developing a strategy for ensuring the growth and prosperity of agriculture and forestry in Tennessee. Governor Haslam set a goal that he wanted to make Tennessee #1 in the Southeast in the development of agriculture and forestry. And he emphasized opportunities to increase farm income and agribusiness investment. As a woman in agriculture, I was honored to have a seat at that table for these discussions and to talk about the ways that we can get young girls and more women involved. And I think we began to partner with FFA and 4-H to really encourage young women to continue a career in agriculture. And I am thankful to say that we have been very successful in that in the state of Tennessee. In 2018, I was appointed by President Trump to serve as the Farm Service Agency State Committee representing Tennessee. We served as liaisons between the USDA and our agriculture producers by keeping them informed and being a listening ear for any complaints or appeals that our growers needed to file with USDA. I served alongside other fellow farmers and ranchers representing our industry on the national level. Then during COVID-19 pandemic, I was appointed to serve on Governor Lee's Economic Recovery Group, specifically the Working Group for Agriculture. And this was a way to help our state, help the working farms in our state during those unprecedented times. As I know it was in your industry, it was a mess on the farm during that time as well. Being able to serve along fellow farmers to help better serve the producers in our state on a local and national level was an experience that I valued. It was an experience that I got a lot of knowledge from. And I think keeping all of those experiences together is what I am trying to lean on to make me an effective legislator today. After being part of NFIB, I was on the NFIB, the National Small Business Organization. I was on their state committee. And after beginning to advocate for that, I realized that I wanted to serve the neighbors on a greater level, and to be able to resolve the issues that we have in Northeast Tennessee. So it's my first year in office. I'm a freshman. I would never think I would say I was a freshman again, but it has been a challenge and fun all at the same time. It's not been without bumps. It's not been without days of like, oh my gosh, I feel so overwhelmed. I don't know what to do. But I reach out to, we have 7 women in the state legislature out of 99. So it is really good to be able to reach out to those ladies. And if anybody has any interest in running for state legislator, I would love to talk to you. But we really lean on each other, and they were always there for me during those times. Shortly after the primary election in August, I won by 72% of the vote. And I did not have a challenger in the in the general election. So when the flood happened September, it was like being baptized by fire. I was already feeling overwhelmed with this new job, and now I'm sitting on the bank of the Nolichucky River with 52 people trapped on the top of the hospital in Unicoi County, and hospital being evacuated in Carter County off the Doe River, and hearing of houses, floating down the river, people floating down the river. And that's a day that I know we will never, you'll never forget it. But the way the community came together and the way the people came to support us, don't listen to the news. We are not, we are not living in a bad world like they like us to believe. I can tell you of example after example of neighbor helping neighbor, people putting others before themselves. And that was something that I wished everybody could have seen, because it makes you believe more in humanity than you ever had. When I first got to Nashville, my first thing in January was we've got to get support for these folks. That's my first priority, to ensure we deliver quality support to those impacted by the floods. I was overjoyed to be met with an outpouring of support from our colleagues in the General Assembly, and Governor Lee um, was ready to help provide real relief during this special session. In total, we were able to bring home $597 million in flood relief, direct disaster relief, covering the cost of property taxes, and for residents that were providing grants for recovery efforts. I personally was able to secure $20 million for Irwin Utilities Authority in Unicoi County to replace their wastewater treatment plant, where it was totally destroyed by the floods. We also were able to get $20 million to rebuild back Hampton High School in Carter County. I sponsored and co-sponsored legislation aimed at improving public safety, preserving farmland, supporting Tennessee's growth, and enhancing everyday lives of citizens. One of my favorite bills was the Farmland Preservation Act. And this bill really does a lot to partner nonprofit communities with farmers that want to protect their land and put them in a conservation easement. It is an easement that they will main working farms and forests, and no restrictions or operations on their operation or the outputs. This fund is $25 million, and it will make a difference in saving our farmland in Tennessee. I know I'm running out of time, so I just want to kind of get down here to just tell you what I've got coming on next year. So the 2 bills that I have already filed is a caring for caregivers bill. And what this bill will do is create a grant fund to help caregivers with lost wages and expenses relating to caring for the loved ones with Alzheimer's and related dementia. This bill was inspired by a constituent. He's actually a college student whose grandfather was going through Alzheimer's, and his dad is Dr. Nolan, president of ETSU. And he came to me with this bill, and he said, "Can you help me with this?" And I'm like, "Absolutely." So we passed this. Well, we haven't passed it yet, but we will. Caregivers can lose more than $36,000 annually in wages and expenses, and this legislation lays a foundation to support approximately 360,000 caregivers statewide. So if you have and the big thing of this is that you're taking care of your patient in your home. So this money, you can use it however you want to. If you want to use it to pay your property taxes, if you want to go get $6,000 worth of massages, that's up to you. You get to spend it any way you want to spend it. And so I think that's a great thing because, we lose ourselves when we're caring sometimes for others. And so I think this is good. My first year as a lawmaker has been incredible, but it wasn't a smooth ride. And I know that you all experience bumps in your industry as well. So I'm sure that you can relate in your respective positions, but nothing that I couldn't handle with a little bit of perseverance and a reminder that I have earned my spot, just like you all have earned yours. Um, as I wrap up today, I want to remind everyone in this room of a few simple things. You don't have to be perfect all the time. You just have to keep going. Being the only woman in the room does not mean you don't belong. It means you are a trailblazer. So keep blazing those trails. When the weight feels heavy, remind yourself that every step you take clears the path for the next woman behind you. And and always remember, you're not walking alone. You're leading the way. I want to thank all of you for being here today. I want to thank you for having me. I love your enthusiasm. I don't know that I shared anything with you that you didn't already know, but I hope that you know that you always have a friend in me, like the song I just called. You always have a friend in me, and I would be glad to talk to you anytime. Please reach out to me. My contact information may be on this thing somewhere. Oh, sorry. I'm not good with this. This is actually my first time doing this. So there's my contact information. So please feel free to reach out to me anytime that you want, that I can help you. If there is something, I really enjoy talking to folks in the industry. If there is a bill or something that would make your life easier, please let me know. I love running bills that come from folks that's boots on the ground and in the industry. So I would love to talk to you. So please don't hesitate to reach out. And Ashley, thank you again so much for having me. Lastly, just let me say, God bless all of you. God bless Tennessee, and God bless America.
Perfect. I think I can all speak for all of us when I say amen and amen. Renee, thank you so much for sharing your story. You say you don't know if you shared anything super inspiring, but it's always inspiring to hear the story of someone who has had such determination, perseverance, to see what you've done in your lifetime so far. And I'm excited to see your journey continue. So thank you so much for being here. And one more time, quick round of applause. Thank you so much. We're just very, very grateful. All right, so we are going to take a quick break. I know you've all eaten and had probably lots to drink, so a quick potty break. If you've never been here before, just continue following follow everyone else who knows where they're going first. But you go out these doors to the left and you'll kind of snake around and you'll see kind of like you're going towards the exhibit area. You'll see the restrooms on your left. I know some people have been taking advantage of the 360 photo booth already. That's great. We're going to kind of push that to the side for a minute to prepare for our next event, but you'll have more time to do that at the end and at our next break. You can also use this break to continue placing your bets for the manager derby. And if you don't mind, just keep it, I guess, to maybe 12 minutes and then come back on here so we can stay on schedule. But we'll go ahead. Oh, and also, sorry, real quick. If you're a latecomer and you don't know what this white bracelet is that you've gotten, this is for our hat competition. So as you're looking around the room, if you see a lady whose hat you're just like, whoa, you did such a good job, give her your bracelet and the person with the most bracelets at the end wins. Okay, break.
I never really know what's going on.
this, but scooch in or slide around. Make room is what I'm saying. So be prepared for this next one. We hope you guys enjoy this as much as we have had fun with this. And we're so grateful for all who are involved in this. But we've got 5 more minutes. So get kind of settled in and take your bathroom break or whatever you need to do. And if you've not placed your bets or given away your bracelet to the lady with the best hat, go ahead and do that now too, please.
Wanna sit and talk to them more. I'm crazy about you and every little thing that you do. I wanna talk, sit, cuddle, make love, baby, or sit in silence. Oh, has anybody ever told you about your eyes? The way you move your lips, baby, when you cry. Tell me, tell me, tell me, baby, I wanna be with you, you wanna be with me. We should get together, baby, we should have some kids. Hey, baby, I'm in my wife, okay now. 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 I love it when you ask me how I'm doing today. You love to check in, I get lost, I get in my way. But it's the way you move your lips and how words roll off your tongue that's got me speechless. Wanna sit and talk to the moon. I'm crazy about you and every little thing that you do. I wanna talk, sit, cuddle, make love, baby, or sit in silence. Oh, has anybody ever told you about your eyes? The way you move your lips, baby, when you cry. Tell me, tell me, tell me, baby, I wanna be with you, you wanna be with me. Hey, we should get together, baby, we should have some kids. Baby, I'm in my wife, okay now. 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 I love your face, your grace, your waist, and how you dance on your toes. You got that good stuff, type of love that make me wiggle my nose. You give me fire and desire, make me conquer my foes. You have my heart from the start, now hold my hand, let's get old. Babe, I'm in my wife, okay now. 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 Hey, hey, my boy.
Okay, ladies, we're ready for the next part. If you all will take a look at our beautiful screen up here. I'm going to move that chair. You know, our theme obviously this year is Kentucky Derby, and we really wanted to be able to embrace that and bring a race to you all. So that's kind of what the placing of bets were all about, you know, in the Derby. It's all about betting on the horses, right? So obviously we couldn't actually bring horses and jockeys and all of that to you, but we brought the water version of that. So we had some lovely general managers across the state willing to come in and put on a show for you all, a race. They're going to race for you all around the room. So that's why I said scoot in a little bit. And this will set the mood for our keynote speaker.
Coming in, born in Memphis, Tennessee, stabled out of Rock Island, Tennessee. This thoroughbred stands about 15'6", goes by the name of John Bon Party, Mick Newman. Cowboy. Hands tall. Jockey Balboa. Tennessee. Tennessee. This is probably our second shortest horse in a race, and at about 15. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we're getting ready to start the race here. If our jockeys would get in position and get in the gate, somebody may need to help them. We're all over the spectrum over there, so. Of course, John Pond Boney is back there causing all the issues, right? Simmer down. As soon as the music starts, gentlemen, the race will begin.
Jockeys, and we are so grateful they took part in this today and swallowed a little bit of their pride and raced around the room for us. So if we could give all of these lovely general managers an applause. I hope you ladies all got pictures, can take them back to the utilities later on, show them. We have a prize for all of them. They each get a poster to hang in their offices. Okay, we have a winner. His horse didn't make it. Forrest Jump and Cody Lovett.
I gotta get the other box.
Oh, me.
Hold your trophy. While we get the pictures of these gentlemen, we're going to draw for the lady.
These are the real winners right here. Kelsey Shepman.
And Leah's got a prize for you, Kelsey. They did good, didn't they?
It's going to be hard to top that. They were great sports, guys. Thank y'all so much. But to stay on, yes, let's give them a hand. To stay on schedule, because we still have several things to do, we're going to go ahead and move on with our agenda. It is my pleasure to introduce comedian Karen Mills as our keynote speaker today. Get ready to laugh and be inspired by someone who masters the art of finding humor in the highs and the lows. Karen Mills is a Tennessee native and seasoned stand-up comedian with over 30 years of experience. She graced the stage of the Grand Ole Opry, toured with Leanne Morgan, a Tennessee girl, and recently appeared on The Talk. Her dry bar comedy special, Baby Got Bad Back, has racked up over 30 million views. Karen's straightforward, smart humor is rooted in real life, from her love of her dogs to her courageous take on battling ovarian cancer. Before comedy, Karen made her mark on the basketball court, becoming UT Chattanooga's first Division I first team All-American, leading the nation in assists and earning a spot in the Chattanooga Basketball Hall of Fame. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming the hilarious and inspiring Karen Mills.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. So, ladies in water, and I thought, is it an Avatar movie? It is great to be here. I am a Tennessee girl, and nothing I like better than performing for other Tennessee girls. I was born and raised in Cleveland, Tennessee. You know Cleveland? Yeah. And now I live in Chattanooga. But now, even though I was born and raised in the South, now I'm not a Southern belle. Unless, of course, I need to be. Like when I'm on an airplane and I have to hoist my bag up in that overhead compartment. I can always find a nice, strong man to give me a hand. And people think we're stupid. But I was raised to be nice, don't make waves, just get along. And because of that, I have no conflict resolution skills. I mean, somebody can do me wrong, and I'm like, I can't believe you did that. But you're not mad at me, are you? I mean, we're good, right? I mean, I was living in Atlanta years ago, and I had a roommate that was not working out. And instead of just sitting her down and explaining to her that she needed to look for another place, I sold my house. I mean, that's how I resolved our conflict. That's what a weenie I am. But now I'm great at telling someone else what they need to do. I have a friend who owns her own business, and she was telling me about an employee who's always late. And I said, well, if I couldn't depend on him, I'd fire him. She said, you would? I said, well, no, I wouldn't. I would close my business and move to a land far, far away. I was saying, well, you should do. But I basically have been a professional people pleaser for my entire life. And you wouldn't even have to finish the question. I'd say yes to everything. It's like, Karen, will you? And I'm like, yes, I will. I'll host it. I'll bake it. I'll lie in court. What do you need? And that is one good thing about getting older, isn't it? I mean, because now I do not care. I mean, it is freedom, isn't it? If somebody doesn't like me, I'm like, oh, good. One less person to make small talk with. I mean, but it took some time, people. It took some time. But people always ask me how I got into comedy. And the truth is, I had no choice but to become a comedian because funny follows me. I'm not kidding, everywhere I go. I was passing through Mississippi. I stopped to eat, ordered a salad. The waitress said, what kind of dressing? I said, I want Caesar. And she said, oh, no. She said, honey, so they come in these real easy to open packets. You won't need no Caesars. And then I ordered a large Coke, and she said, we don't have large. We only have small and medium. Now, where I'm from, you need 3 sizes to have a medium. Just give me that bigger one. And I was working down in St. Augustine, Florida, and a friend of mine had gone with me, also has short blonde hair. We'd gone out to eat. The waiter walked over and said, are y'all related? And I said, no. And he said, are you sisters? I said, where did I lose you? And then I heard a man sitting at the very next table ask that same waiter if the Alaskan snow crab was local. He said, I think so. But these kind of things happen to me all the time. I'm not kidding. And in Chattanooga, we had a very beloved news anchor named Mary Ellen Loker that passed away about 20 years ago from breast cancer. And now we have the Mary Ellen Loker Breast Center. And part of the breast center is they have a pink motorhome that goes around and does mobile mammogram screenings, which is so important to get your mammograms. Well, I had a friend passing through town, and he didn't know anything about Mary Ellen Loker. And I'd met him for lunch. And as we're leaving the restaurant, this big pink RV comes around the corner, and all he saw on the side of it was the word Mary. And he looked at me and said, Good Lord, how much of that makeup do you have to sell to get an RV? I'm like, all of it. You got to sell all the makeup. Forget that Cadillac. But my favorite one happened when I was working in Indiana, and it was just across the Kentucky line off Interstate 65. And I forgot to ask where my show was, if they were on Central Time or Eastern Time. Well, I had to run into Walmart anyway, so I just grabbed a woman in the store and I said, Are you on Central Time or Eastern Time? She said, I don't work here. And that's why I'm a comedian. I did play basketball UT Chattanooga. And when people find out I played college ball, the first thing they say is, Yeah, but did you graduate? Yes, and I don't appreciate what you're incinerating. I got a degree. Actually, I was a good student. I graduated at Kuna Matata. But people are surprised to find out I played because I am 5'2". But hey, someone had to pass to the tall girls. And everyone thought I would be tall because in the 7th grade, I wore a size 9 shoe. Even the doctor said to my mom, said, Oh, she's going to grow. Said, Look at her feet. Said, She's either going to be tall or be a clown. I think we know how that worked out. But I played high school ball at Bradley High School in Cleveland, Tennessee. And I don't know if any of you remember Jim Smitty. He's in the Women's National Basketball Hall of Fame, one of the winningest coaches in history on any level. And he was very much a role player type of coach. And my job was to get the ball to Data. Data was our 6'2" center, and back then 6'2" was really tall. And so he did not want me to shoot. He just wanted me to feed the ball to Data. Well, every day he would make me stay after school and make 250 shots before I could go home. And I couldn't figure out why I had to stay and shoot when I didn't even hardly get to shoot in a game. Well, fast forward to the final state tournament, 1976. We're down by 1 with 3 seconds on the clock. The game plan is for me to inbound the ball to Data and for her to take the shot. I inbounded the ball to Data. She was double teamed. She flipped the ball back to me, and I hit the shot at the buzzer to win the state championship. It was the no, that's okay. No, but it was the perfect example of preparation meeting opportunity. And I would like to say that I knew my time would come, so I stayed after school every day and I made all those shots so I'd be ready. But that's not the truth. The truth is, Coach Smitty knew the time would come when Data would be double teamed and I'd be left open, and he was going to make sure I was ready. But every time I'm up in Cleveland running errands for my mom, there'll be somebody in a bank or a grocery store somewhere that'll grab me and say, I'll never forget when you made that last shot. Or what I like to call the shot that knocked Mama's wig off. Because my mother wore a wig that night. And when the ball went through the basket, everybody grabbed her and started shaking her, and that wig flew right off her head. But I believe that we have in Tennessee, we have the best fight song in all of college sports. Don't you agree, Rocky Top? Yeah, I believe that we have the best song in any sport. But have you ever really listened to the words? It says 2 strangers went up on Rocky Top looking for a moonshine steel. Strangers never came down from Rocky Top. Guess they never will. Our fight song is about the disappearance and possible murder of 2 federal agents. Now, that's a good fight song right there, because that tells our opponents that we're not scared of some dog or some gator, because we'll get liquored up and either kill you or keep you. Either way, you'll never be heard from again. But I still do try very hard to stay in shape, and I hired a personal trainer. But man, after I worked out with her a few times, I had to sit her down and explain to her that she had completely overestimated my goals. Said, I am not trying out for anything. And she kind of got in my face and said, go big or go home. And I said, well, now you have underestimated my desire to leave, because home is exactly where I want to go. But I am in pretty good shape. I've completed 2 marathons. Yeah, thank you. Friends and Big Bang Theory. Hey, could I be in better shape? But I've been out here now for 30 years, and you would think at this point I would have packing down to a science, but I'm the worst packer. I take way too much stuff, and I blame Gilligan's Island. I mean, they were only going on a 3-hour tour. Look what happened. At Ginger, she was thinking ahead. She had a whole closet on that island. And I'm sure that right before they left, she thought, I know we're only supposed to be gone 3 hours, but just in case something goes down, I'm going to throw in some beaded gowns. That's how I pack. Only I take way too many shoes. Way, way too many shoes. It's ridiculous. I'll be going for a weekend, take enough to stay 2 weeks, and then wear the same thing the whole time I'm gone. I mean, none of it makes sense. But but I was so upset recently when I read that they do not bury you in shoes. I immediately had it put in my final wishes. That I want to be buried in shoes, and I want a bottom open casket. I want that top closed. I want the bottom open. And when everybody comes around, pull that curtain, change my shoes, bring them back around. I've put way too much into my shoe game to go out in my bare feet. But because it is kind of taxing to travel and schlep luggage and all the things, it's a lot of tension in your neck and shoulders. So I get a lot of massages on the road. And I was down in Alabama, and I was at a Marriott Resort and Spa, and I booked a massage. Well, part of the massage experience is quiet. We want to be relaxing, no talking. Well, I'm laying there doing some breathing exercises, waiting on the massage therapist to come in. When Tina came in, dragging a leg, and every step she took, she went, oh God, oh my God, oh, oh. So finally I said, Tina, are you all right? And she said she'd had a knee replacement. And I said, oh, I'm so sorry, that's a rough surgery. And then I made the mistake of saying, should you even be here? Because then I got the whole story. And what had happened was, her son took her car without her knowledge, and he got a DUI, and the car got impounded, and it's going to be $600 to get that car back. And her husband doesn't help with anything. He sits on the couch, so it all falls on her to get that money. But she's managing the pain with gabapentin and hydrocodone, but she needs to talk to a nurse practitioner because she's feeling a little loopy, and she doesn't think her Zoloft is mixing with her Adderall. She also had a histamine intolerance, and she can't eat sauerkraut, eggplants, or onion. It was the most stressful massage I've ever been through. But we got through it, even though the last 20 minutes I worked on her. And then I was down in New Orleans, and I'd gone to the outlet mall, and they had all these kiosks set up in the middle of the mall. Well, one of them was portable massage tables. And there was this tiny little man and woman standing beside those massage tables. And as I walked by, before I even knew what happened, they had pulled off my jacket, sat down my shopping bag, and pushed my face in that hole. And he started rubbing my back and my hips, and she started rubbing my arms and my legs. And I must say, it's the most action I've seen in a very long time. But one challenge of being on the road so much is that we have to use so many public restrooms. So now I always carry with me antibacterial wipes so I can clean the seat because I no longer have the thighs to hover. I wish they put one of those handicap bars on the back of the door. Give me something I can work with. And that whole thing about find a penny, pick it up. The older I get, the larger the denominations have to be. It's like first I stopped picking up pennies, then dimes, then quarters. Now, if it's not a bill, forget it. I think that's what they mean about going through the change. And lately, I've been having this terrible shoulder pain. I couldn't figure out what was causing it. I finally realized it is my darn purse. And I don't even know what's in the black hole that makes it so heavy. Because whatever I'm looking for, I can't find. But when I go to the grocery store, even if I only need one thing, I get a buggy to push that purse. And I know, yeah, and I know that's a universal problem because one day I saw a lady pushing a stroller and her kid was walking, but that purse is strapped in. But you know what they say 50's the new 40, 40's the new 30, 9 o'clock's the new midnight. Some friends of mine were having a party not long ago and I stopped by and they went, "Oh, yeah, Karen, you came." And I'm like, "Yeah." And we've got from 8 to 9 to blow this mother up because I got to go. It's like one of my younger friends, I think it's important to have friends of all ages and to stay young. And so I have a group of younger friends and they invited me to go hear a new band in town. And I said, "Yeah, I'd love to." And then I found out it didn't start till 10 o'clock. I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. Did I give you the impression that I snort cocaine? Because I don't." I will not be going out at 10 o'clock. I have to get my rest, keep my mind sharp. Tomorrow's Wordle's not going to solve itself. And now I'm starting to see more than just the physical signs of aging. Now I'm starting to see those other signs. Like when I'm driving, if I'm not sure where I'm going, I have to turn the radio down so I can see. Lady said to me the other day, "Just wait a few years, you had to put your glasses on to hear." And if I have to make a left-hand turn in traffic, everybody in the car needs to shut their mouth. And I've always prided myself on my ability to handle a car, but I got so embarrassed recently when I got lost in a traffic circle. I went around 3 times before I figured out which road to take. Even Siri said, "Girl, what are you doing?" But I'm starting to worry about myself. One day I pulled up to the drive-through at Truist Bank, and the teller said, "How may I help you?" And I said, "I need to pick up my prescription." And the second it came out of my mouth, I realized where I was. So I was wondering if you'd run down to Walgreens and get it for me. I mean, you're the one always bragging about customer service. And I'll tell you this, if you have a prescription ready at Walgreens, somebody better go get it or they'll blow up your phone like a jilted lover. I mean, what's going on at Walgreens? It's like Fatal Attraction. Somebody sitting in the corner speed dialing people. I'm not going to be ignored. And some days I'll just be walking around the parking lot hitting my remote, hoping to see a light flash, hear a horn blow, anything to clue me into where I left my car. What I really need is hit a button, have the car stand up on its rear tires and go, "Hello." But at least I'm not the only person losing her car in the parking lot. I kid you not. I saw a woman get out of her car at a crowded mall. And she took a plunger with a pink scarf tied to it and she slapped it on top of her car. Introducing the new car finder right there. And one time I was leaving the mall, I had my packages, I go to put my bags in the trunk. I can't get the key to work. I keep hitting the remote, it won't release the trunk. Can't figure out what's wrong with this key. And then I thought, well, maybe the latch is hung up. So I took my fist and I popped the trunk. Suddenly the car door opens, a man steps out and goes, "What are you doing?" I said, "Oh my." I said, "Well, sugar, I bought you a present." I mean, he had a red car, I have a red car. Of course, his a Mercedes and mine's a Kia, but apparently I can only distinguish colors now. And I swear, I think menopause reached into my brain and sucked out every name I've ever known. And I blame menopause because my brother's 3 years older than I am, and he knows names, dates, telephone numbers from when we were kids. I can't remember anything. And he tries his best to save me. I mean, we'll be out somewhere and he'll say, "Okay, heads up. Walking toward us is Teresa Hickson." I don't know Teresa Hickson. Yeah, you do. She grew up on our street. You played ball together. She's our cousin. I'm like, on which side? I don't remember her. But I swear, if I go to any kind of event, I pray for name tags. It gives me so much anxiety. And I tell the person I'm with, if I don't introduce you, then introduce yourself. So maybe they'll introduce themselves and I'll find out who we're talking to. And I do have these Hail Mary conversations where I just keep trying to throw out anything to see if I can get a hint of who it is. And I'll be like, "So, how's the family? You still doing that job?" And they're like, "Yeah, you know me." And I'm like, "No, I don't know you. That's the problem." But yeah, the conversation has become like a game of charades. I was trying to think of this actor's name, and I said to my friend, "Oh, you know him. He has dark hair. He was in that movie. Oh, you know the movie. He married. What's her name? Oh, she was on that show with those other girls. Couldn't come up with anything. And then 3 days later, I'm standing in line at the grocery store, and out of nowhere, I just blurt out, "Matthew Broderick." So I get out to the car, I call my friend. I said, "I thought that actor's name is Matthew Broderick." She said, "Oh, yeah." Said he was in that movie, Buford Pusser's Day Off. I said, "No, it wasn't Buford Pusser. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. I wake up and go Ferris Bueller." So the next morning I called her. I said it was Ferris Bueller's Day Off. She said, "Good Lord, I feel like we just cracked the Da Vinci Code." And I've literally been digging through my purse looking for my cell phone while I was talking on it. I can find my phone. I don't know what I've done with my phone. My friend goes, "Well, just talk to me on this one till you find it." And whenever I'm talking to my mom on my cell phone, if I drop the call and I call her back, she's in a panic. She's like, "You okay?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, I just lost my signal." And she's like, "Oh, Lord. Oh, that scared me, Dan. I was afraid somebody had knocked you in the head." She's always worrying about that. "Don't stop at a rest area at night. Somebody knock you in the head. You better lock your doors tight. Somebody break in on you and knock you in the head." I'm surprised we don't hear more about that on the news. Last night, 15 people got knocked in the head. One was just talking on her cell phone. And I told my mom I was doing that bit. I went through the whole thing for her, and she looked at me and then cracked a smile. She said, well, I don't see anything funny about getting knocked in the head. But it's kind of a double standard because I tell her, I'm fine, stop worrying. But if I've called my parents for several hours and nobody answers, and I'm on the phone to my brother, and what in the world's happened to mom and dad? They didn't say they were going anywhere. Where in the world could they be? Then we both take off down to their house, start looking for clues. In a little while, here they come. They bent the funeral home, ran into people they hadn't seen in a while, got socializing, eating fried chicken off the death buffet. I said, yeah, well, you need to let somebody know if you're going to be out late. I thought somebody knocked you in the head. But if there was an Olympic sport for worrying, my mother would win the gold. I've never seen anything like it. She's on pins and needles all the time when I'm traveling, scared to death of an airplane. As soon as I land, I got to call, let her know I'm on the ground. And her very next question is, who's picking you up? And I have to say, the Secret Service. She would collapse if she had any idea about an Uber. If I told her I just called some random person and I give them the address of where I'm staying, she'd have me knocked in the head and dead in the ditch. But I do feel pretty safe with Uber. I mean, only one time have I been picked up in a white van with no windows. Guy asked me to help him load a couch with American Girl playing in the background. You Silence of the Lambs people, yeah. But anytime I need new material, I just go visit my mom. I walked in one day and she was drawing on her eyebrows with a dry erase marker. I said, Mom. She said, well, this stays on longer. And I just got back from California. I was out literally yesterday. I was out with Leanne Morgan and we did a 4-day run out in California. And the day before I left, my mom's TV went out. Well, I mean, she's got to have her TV. And so we're scrambling to get her a new TV. And that TV is about 12 years old. So you can't get that TV anymore. So now we're having to introduce a smart TV. And she doesn't care about apps. She's not going to be streaming The Hunting Wives. She's not going to be watching Bridgerton. None of that mess is going to be coming down. So I'm trying to teach her to get to her direct TV. So when it comes up, all the apps are down. All she's got to do is 2 down, 2 to the right, and select. And that's all she's got to do. And I thought we had it. I made her up a little song. 2 down, 2 to the right. Hit that button with all your might. If you get lost, don't throw the phone. Hit that house and go back home. I've been gone for 7 days. She has not turned the TV off because she's afraid she can't get back to it. Yet she sings the song, but she can't connect the words to it to the remote. Anyway, it's been a hoot, but never a dull moment. But me and my friend Beverly, we're always trading mama stories. And she called one day and said, well, Mom got summoned to jury duty. And I called and said, Mom, I told her, said, don't worry about it. I'll call tomorrow, let them know you don't hear well, and they'll get you out of it. She said, no. She said, I want to do it. Said, I don't need to hear. I can tell by looking at them. So wrong. And my mom thinks the voicemail lady is real. She called one day and said, I called your telephone earlier and some lady said your voicemail was full and you couldn't take any more messages. She said, you tell her. You can always take another message when your mother calls. I said, okay, I'll tell her. In a few minutes, she called back and said, no, don't say anything. I wouldn't want her to lose her job. And when Amazon announced they were going to start testing drones to deliver packages to your door, she called and she said, you know what's going to happen there? You order something from Amazon, they'll send a drone out to deliver it to you. And about the time they drop it on your porch, you walk out your front door and get knocked in the head. But technology is a lot to keep up with. And I mean, it is constantly changing. And I was reading that millennials have 31 billionaires under the age of 40 due to their technology inventions. And that's because they grew up with better stuff. I mean, they had toys that engaged their senses and challenged their minds. I had a slinky. Of course, I didn't invent anything. I played with a spring. If they had a question, they'd Google. I had the magic 8 ball. What do you mean ask again later? I need to know now. The only thing I had that was remotely advanced was Etch-a-Sketch. And my mom got me one at a garage sale, and the left knob was missing. So everything I drew took a hard right. But one old piece of technology I just finally got rid of because it's on my GPS now. But for the longest time, I used a radar detector. And now that is a handy device because it lets you know the moment that you're caught. And it's helpful. And if you have a driving record like mine, you do just about anything to avoid a ticket. Last time I was pulled over, the officer approached the window and I said, oh my, officer. Well, if I'd known you're so handsome, I'd have pulled you over. You got me a date in court. And what I do not understand are cops on bicycles. I mean, what do they do when they arrest someone? Okay, buddy, in the basket. Dun, 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 dun. I told that joke not long ago, and this whole table started pointing to this one guy, and I said, "Oh, you a bicycle cop?" He said, "No, I've been in the basket." But now we have everything right at our fingertips with our phone. And one thing I do love about my smartphone is spell check because I have 3 words. It doesn't matter how many times I write them, I cannot learn how to spell restaurant, dachshund, or diarrhea. And I don't know what my block is with restaurant, but I get REST and everything jumbles up. And dachshund, I can't even get close enough to have it pop up. I've just started spelling it WIENERDOG. And I don't think there is an exact spelling to diarrhea. I think that H just floats. Every time I see it, it's somewhere different. But you have to be careful with your smartphone because, I mean, Siri, Alexa, they're cyber spies. And they know everything you buy, everything you search for, everything you click on. I went to weather.com, J. Crew popped up. All I wanted was the temperature. Bought this suit. And now you don't even have to click on it. You just speak it into the room. The other day I said, I like the new BMW. Well, Alexa, Siri, they reported back to the mothership. And within seconds, everywhere I look, my phone, my tablet, my bathroom mirror, there's a BMW. But the worst part of being on the road so much is that I miss my animals. My friends call me the animal avenger because I'm always rescuing something. And they don't even have to be cute. I have possums cross the road. I mean, it's just, but the last dog I rescued, a little Chihuahua, she was abandoned on the street. She walked up to me, looked at me with those big eyes, and said, "Can you take me in? I'm homeless. I'm pregnant. Hey, I made some mistakes." But she had 2 of the cutest puppies I've ever seen, but she just had a terrible time losing the baby weight. I have her on a diet, but she's such a typical female. Every time I go to weigh her, she's like, "Oh, you take this collar off." But and she only had 2 puppies, and a friend of mine took both babies. And when I go out of town, she stays with her babies, and they know that's their mommy, and it's the sweetest little love fest you've ever seen. But they're puppies, and they want to play, play, play. Well, she you know, she's a Chihuahua. She likes to play a minute and then rest to get in a lap. Well, the first time I left her for the weekend, when I got there, she was so exhausted, her eyes were rolled back in her head. And I was carrying her to the car, and her babies were crying for her. And I said, "Oh, Zoe, your babies are crying. They don't want you to go." And she looked at me like, "Get in the car, girl. Just keep moving. Keep moving. Don't look back." But she is so spoiled. And when she wants a drink of water, she gets in my lap and goes, and she wants me to give her bottled water out of my hand. And I do it. But when I get home, we're both so excited to see each other. And she feeds on herself too. And then one of my dogs I rescued when it's literally only days old. His mother was crossing the street, had him in her mouth, and she was hit and killed. He was tossed into the ditch. I scooped him up. I rushed him to the vet. The vet said he probably wouldn't make it, but I got up around the clock and I nursed him back to health, and he did make it. And my intention was once I got him healthy, was to find him a home. But Lord, once you breastfeed one, you can't give it away. It's my favorite joke. Because half the room we usually go, ooh. But then all the crazy dog people like me is like, oh yeah, she's right. You breastfeed it. You can't give it away. But I know I am a crazy dog person, but I come by it honest. I mean, everybody in my family, my whole life, we have loved and kissed dogs in the mouth and taught baby talk to them. And I mean, from the time I was born. And my dad was not a touchy feely kind of guy. But when I was growing up, we had a dachshund, and he was crazy about that dog. And we used to come home. He used to come home after work. He'd look at us and go, hey. And then he'd grab that dachshund and go, what the baby doing? What'd the baby do today? Did a baby chase a squirrel? Did that baby chase a squirrel? Me and my brother sitting there thinking, maybe we should start chasing squirrels. I rescued a kitty from a dumpster, brought him home, named him Sky. But after I had him for about 6 months, I changed his name to Ted Bundy. He and the neighbor cat, John Wayne Gacy, they go on these killing sprees, and then they drag these half-dead critters to my door. Now I have to try and rescue them. I mean, do you know how hard it is to resuscitate a chipmunk? Come on, Alvin, breathe. I got to go on a behind-the-scenes tour of our local zoo, and we got to get up close and personal with the animals. A whole group of us went. And they brought out a little red panda for us to pet. And legend has it that I pushed down a little girl to get to the panda. I did not push down a little girl. I beat her to the front of the line, fair and square. I didn't push her, I won. Not my fault she had a short little stride. And I could hear her crying. She said, Mommy, I want to know the panda. I said, well, here's a good chance for you to learn that you don't always get what you want. It's a teaching opportunity. I do. I love all animals, and I'm not kidding. If I see a baby, anything, my milk comes in. I mean, I can't take it. And I have assigned myself to police everybody and all animals, and whether anybody likes it or not. And I was down in Tallahassee, Florida, and I'd gone to the duck pond to feed the duck. Well, here come a mama duck and all of her babies, and I'm trying to make sure they all get a bite. And out of nowhere comes this little girl and scatters the ducks. And her mother goes, Amy, don't chase them babies back in the water without their mama. So in a minute, here come the ducks. I'm trying to feed them. Here comes Amy. Amy, I'm not going to tell you again. Don't chase them babies back in the water without their mama. 10 more times she told that child she wasn't going to tell it again. Finally, I walked over and I said, Amy, unless you want to go in the water without your mama, stop it. My mama didn't tell me she wasn't going to tell me again and tell me 10 more times. If I didn't do what I was told, I got knocked in the head. But that was the only gang we had in my neighborhood when I was growing up, was the mama gang. Their do-rags were floral with sponge curlers, and they busted a polyester sag. And if you acted out, it didn't even have to be your own mama tear you up. Any mama in the gang could bust you. That's why I'm amazed today when I hear these reports that some kid was building a bomb in his parents' garage and they had no idea. If I'd been building a bomb in my parents' garage, not only would my mother have sniffed it out, she'd have stuck it up my rear end and lit it. And that would have put an end to the bomb building. That's how that works. Well, I'm so glad that y'all chose to have comedy for your luncheon. You know, it's so important to laugh and to make an effort to laugh. You know, you can get caught up in the news and all the negativity and everything going on. And I think it's important that we all, you know, make an effort to keep joy in our life and to love our neighbor and to, you know, not go down all those rabbit holes that they try to keep us. You know, they're all making millions keeping us down a rabbit hole. So we don't want that. We want to be joyful. So I'm so glad you chose to have comedy today. And, you know, I find humor everywhere, you know, the good and the bad. And back in 2012, I went through ovarian cancer. And one of the first things my doctor said to me is, I don't care who it is, get negative people out of your life so that you can heal. He said, it's as important to your recovery as surgery and chemotherapy. And so I made a conscious effort to always put on comedies or surround myself with people who lift me up and made me laugh. And you know, a lot of people say there's nothing funny about that. Well, there's always something funny. There's always a way to look at something where you can find humor, and it's for your own good. So when I went through cancer, I just went for a routine checkup. Actually, there was one time I had some real severe cramping in my abdomen, and I almost went to the emergency room, and then instead I did what most people would do. I went to WebMD and diagnosed myself with IBS. But then my annual checkup was coming up, so I didn't see any reason to rush any sooner. I mean, who hadn't had cramps? And it's just that one isolated event. And so 6 weeks later, when my appointment rolled around, I didn't expect it to be anything other than just a routine checkup. And the nurse practitioner was examining me, and we were laughing and making jokes about getting older, when all of a sudden she got to my abdomen and all the blood drained out of her face. And she said, you have a huge mass. She said, didn't you feel that? I said, well, I knew that it didn't matter what I did, I couldn't get rid of my stomach, but I thought it was just weight I'd gained from menopause. She said, that's not fat, that is mass. I said, we better check back here because I can't get rid of that either. She sent me for an ultrasound and a sonogram, and which didn't tell me anything, just that it was indeed huge, and they thought it might be attached to my right ovary, but couldn't be sure. And of course, everything happens on a Friday, so I couldn't get a CT scan till the following week. And I had a show the next night in Hickory, North Carolina, and I wasn't going to stay home and worry, so I got in my car and I headed to Hickory. And driving up there, my mind was racing, and I got pulled over, and so was my car, actually. So I got pulled over, and I said to the officer, I said, sir, I need a break. I just found out that I have a tumor the size of your head. And his eyes got big, and I said, I'm not kidding, it's huge. I said, I don't mean to imply that your head is huge. I mean, it's perfect for a head, but to be in my abdomen, not so good. He goes, I'll just give you a warning. I said, I think that would be best. But then the next week, I had a CT scan, and with ovarian cancer, there's a blood test called CA-125. Normal range is 0 to 35. Mine came back at 11,000. Yeah, and so my oncologist said there's no point in biopsying it because it's so big, it's got to be removed regardless. So we scheduled surgery, and my college roommate was the nurse anesthetist who put me to sleep. And I suddenly became extremely grateful that while I was goofing off in college, she was studying. But it was great having her there because she later gave me a play-by-play of how it all went down. She said that my doctor had diagrammed me from breastbone to pelvic bone in a cross. And when he made that first vertical cut, my right ovary came flying out the size of a cantaloupe, and then my left ovary popped out the size of a grapefruit. Turns out my muffin top was fruit salad. And I travel all the time, which means I go through those x-ray machines at airport security a lot. Don't you think that at some point a TSA agent would have pulled me aside? Said, I don't see a gun, but you're packing a fruit stand, lady. Call your doctor. 4 weeks after surgery, I started chemotherapy, and I was a college athlete, so I thought I'd breeze right through that. That was the hardest thing I've ever been through, and I salute anyone who slayed that dragon. And but on my worst days, my friend Christy would put on Kelly Clarkson, "What Doesn't Kill You Makes You Stronger," and we would dance. Now, when I say that I danced, I mean that I shuffled around the room. I certainly don't want to give the impression that I twerked my way through chemo, or that I was hooked up to the IV going, "Watch me drip, watch me nay, watch me drip, drip, watch me nay." I did not have that in me. But it always made me feel better, just getting up and moving to the music, and it lifted my spirits. I learned that even when your body is weak, your spirit can be strong. And it made those rough days just a little more manageable. But cancer really has taught me so much, like never order a wig on the internet. I ordered the Jamie Lee Curtis Pixie, and what they sent me made me look like Joe Pesci from My Cousin Vinny. And of course, the very last hair to fall off my body was Gladys, my devoted chin hair. And when I finished treatment, my hair started coming back. Guess who was first back on the scene? But I also started eating much healthier after going through cancer. You know, being a road comic, everything was, always driving through somewhere and grabbing something, fast food, and going to the next place. So I do eat much healthier now, which is better for my body, but worse for my comedy because I always got great material at fast food joints. One time I stopped at McDonald's and I ordered an egg and cheese biscuit. Kid taking my order asked me, did I want my egg round or folded? Well, I've never been asked that before, but I consider my options and I said, I'll go with round. So we only have folded. Another time I drove up to Hardee's and I ordered a jelly biscuit. And as I drove away from the window, I thought, I better check my bag. I looked and there was no jelly. So I pulled back around. I said, I didn't get any jelly. And she pointed to a sign that said condiments available upon request. I said, yeah, but it's a jelly biscuit. She said, I don't care. Our manager is just very strict. He doesn't allow us to hand out any condiments that aren't requested at the window. I said, well, I can understand if I wanted an egg biscuit. If I ordered an egg biscuit and also wanted jelly, I need to ask for it at the window, but jelly's part of the order. If I ordered a sausage and biscuit, I wouldn't have to ask for the sausage at the window. She said, sausage isn't a condiment. I said, well, by golly, you got me there. And what I hate most about that story is she thinks I'm the one who didn't get it. I feel certain that when I drove away, she said to her coworker, that lady thought sausage was a condiment. And one other time, very late at night, I was driving back from Birmingham, Alabama, and the only thing open was a Taco Bell, and I pulled up to the drive-through, and I kept waiting and waiting and waiting for someone to take my order, and nobody ever came. And finally, I said, hello, and the girl goes, honey, you're going to have to hang on for a minute, so we're changing our drawers. I said, well, I think I'll go somewhere else. But the thing that really surprised me the most through the whole cancer thing is I thought that I'd already gone through menopause, but removing my ovaries threw me back in it. And I mean, worse than ever. And, and I was reading recently that the two species on planet Earth that go through menopause are female humans and killer whales. And I'm guessing they weren't killer whales until after they went through it. I'm sure they were fun, outgoing whales with full lips and a good metabolism. And once a female goes through menopause, she then becomes the leader of the pod. Yeah, I'm guessing it's not voted on. I'd say she just makes an announcement. Gonna be some changes up in here. And I've decided there could not be very many menopausal women in hell because they wouldn't put up with it. They'd band together, overthrow the devil, and get the air turned on. You don't know a fiery pit, you've had a hot flash. And I know why they call them hot flashes, because one hits you, you don't care who you flash. But my favorite movie when I was growing up was The Wizard of Oz. But now that I've gotten older, it's come to have a much deeper meaning to me. I mean, when I was a kid and the Wicked Witch screamed, I'm melting, I thought she was dying. Now I know she's having a hot flash. She's going through menopause. That's why she's trying to kill everybody. I've seen the time when I wish I had me some flying monkeys. I'll tell you that right now. But you know, estrogen is the hormone that makes us nurturing, makes us caregivers, makes us want to make sure that everyone else is taken care of first. That's estrogen. And when we hit perimenopause, estrogen starts dropping. And the lower it goes, the more we start to question. Well, wait a minute. Why am I doing everything? Would it kill somebody else to do something around here? I just give, give, give. And then everybody starts going, oh, what's wrong with her? She's not herself. She's acting crazy. No, not crazy. Tawanda. Yeah. Remember her from Fried Green Tomatoes? Yeah. So, guys, I know there's not many here, but if your wife, your girlfriend, if she has PMS, be thankful. Because that means she's producing estrogen. And even though a woman with PMS might kill you, a woman going through menopause will force you to take your own life. You guys have been so much fun. And before I go, I always, I have a bit that I did years ago, and I stopped doing it because it's an old bit. And then I get out and I have been accosted in parking lots at people angry that I didn't do the bit. So anytime I have time, I always try to throw it in case there's just somebody that would like for me to do it. It's my most requested bit. So now y'all may hate it, but I'm going to do it anyway. But by applause, who's seen the movie Nell with Jodie Foster? Have you seen that movie? Okay. Well, it was filmed in North Carolina, and I thought Jodie gave an incredible performance. But even more impressive than her performance was how Liam Neeson, who played her doctor, how he was able to learn her language. And in the final scene, he translates for the court what Nell is saying. Nell approaches the bench. About time, ma, what we lord, nab and ta-ta. Nell said that since your mother's demise, she has been frightened. Basso Tata Adelaide, and a kind of Lord, he lit my sky on a K. She said that we as a people are universally fearful, but the Lord alleviates the source of our despair. All I know is that if you ever get stopped for DUI, this is the guy you want speaking for you. A, B, K, D, C, P. She said A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J. That movie was filmed in North Carolina. I broke down in North Carolina one time, rolled up to a little one pump gas station, Goober sitting on the front porch. He walked over, looked under my hood, and goes, "Contact toilet." I'm thinking, I found Nell's father. I said, I am sorry, sir, but I didn't understand you. And he said, "Hey, yeah, he got bad contact." So finally I said, "Okay, well, do you sell Tuntats?" He fixed the car. I still don't know what he did. But when I drove off, I said, "Thank me, Chickapee." I think Nell make a great rap artist, be like Jay-Z, Chickapee. They Jay and Paul and Mom May. I so ta-ta idolate, say tay in the wind. Everybody say tay, tay, tay in the wind. So I'm in Birmingham, Alabama after a show, and I'm accosted by a lady who goes, "I brought 15 people here to hear you do Nell, and you didn't do it." So I'm standing in the parking lot of the Stardome going, "Bow time, oh, what we Lord." Hey, you guys have been great. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate you so much.
paper towels. Okay? So you're going to have an owner. So this is like a derby race. So this is going to be your own little derby team. So you're going to have an owner. That owner is going to represent leadership and vision. You're going to have a trainer. The trainer is like offering guidance and direction. A jockey. The jockey is going to be the driver who pushes toward with focus. Your jockey also needs to have quick legs. Okay? No, not your jockey. Sorry, that's your horse. Your horse is going to symbolize the goal or the objective being moving forward. Okay? That is who's going to need to have quick legs. And then your audience, who's the cheerleaders and support system and keeps the energy up and going. Just like in our industry, no one reaches the finish line alone. We all need roles, leaders, planners, doers, supporters, and everything to make it all possible. So we're going to show you how to do this. Right. Got it. So you in the front. 3 will work.
You have roll paper towels.
Guess I'm taking this with. Sure. Okay, I'm going to be the horse, and I can't see y'all because that light's right in my eyes. Leah is going to be my trainer. Angel's going to be my jockey. We only have 3, so. But if you were an owner, or if you were the audience, you would stand around and be cheering them on, okay? So, and the ladies around you, the other committee members will kind of help you because you'll need to set a chair aside like we have done. And your trainer doesn't need to be more than 2 of those squares. If you look at the carpet, that's how I based it. 2 of those squares in front of you, okay? So we're going to pretend like she's 2 squares in front. When we say go, the name of the game is whoever unrolls the paper towels the fastest. You are the winning team. We're going to pick 5 winning teams and then bring them up front.
Have a roll off.
And have a roll off. And that winning team of 5 gets to pick their door prize. Okay, so if you have slick bottom shoes, don't be that person.
Take your shoes off. Take your shoes off.
Nothing's happening up here. Nothing. Okay, but that's how you do it. If you have to take your shoes off to get a little grip, you might need to take your shoes off to get a little grip. It doesn't work on this stand. So go ahead and get your teams together. The committee members are going to be around helping you out and keeping an eye out on who is done first. When they get I'm gonna let them get situated. I'm gonna let y'all get situated for a minute before we start. So be getting your teams ready, get your chair out. You're running away the best. Until you run out, I'm gonna unroll it. My shoes. Do not start until we say go. Okay, committee members, are we ready? Is everybody ready? Okay, on your mark, get set. Let the race begin. Go. Go, go, go. Good job. We need time. We got one team, two teams, three teams. Sorry. Okay, the first 5 teams that I pointed to, take your team and head to the front.
I'm really not sure who.
Because we had a few sport.
You formed that. You practice.
Who's the trainer?
Sorry, I belong to this one. There you go. We're together. We do it all.
Okay, ladies, I think we have our top 5 teams up here. So we're all going to be a part of the audience and cheer each other on. On your mark, get set. Let the race begin.
That one, it was stuck at the end. I know, we had a bump. You did good. Yeah.
Okay, we have the city of Kings. On the table, there the flowers that are in the cute faces that have a ribbon around them and have TIA tag on. You can pick one of those. Okay, there's 10 around the table. They send me flowers, water, water flowers. Maybe you can leave, and we're gonna get you some on the side space. Good job, girls. How fun was that? We're going to get the winner's picture. They each get to take home one of the bouquets that have the clear vases of flowers and hydrangeas. So they each get to take home some flowers. Laura? All right, girls, now that we've all had our cardio workout, we want to take a moment to extend our thanks to the sponsors who made this event possible today. And yes, somebody say Laura? Oh, sorry. Okay. Through their generous support, whether through event sponsorship, goodie bag items, or door prize donations, they help us bring this group together each year without the need for a registration fee.
We are incredibly grateful for their continued investment in this community and in the mission of Women in Water. Please join me in giving a round of applause to all of our sponsors for their support and their partnership. Okay, Miss Angel, I think it's your turn to present the winner of the hat competition.
Okay, we'll start small. Anyone who has 5 bracelets, please stand. 5 or more. Yes, 5 or more. Okay. Congratulations, ladies. Anybody now with 10 or more, stay standing. Everyone else sit. 15 or more. 20 or more. Okay, so everybody who has 15, stand back up. 16, 17, 18. Ta-da! Yes. You can come up and select whichever prize you would like from the table. Yes, this is so cute. And she took my pumpkin spice. Congratulations.
All right, we're going to get into awards. It is our honor to present the 2025 Women in Water Awards with all of you here today. Our committee was incredibly impressed with this year's nominations. While the selection process was difficult due to the outstanding caliber of each nominee, it gave us a meaningful opportunity to learn more about the work and dedication each woman brings to the industry. What becomes clear throughout this process is that our profession is made stronger by passionate, capable individuals who are deeply respected by their peers and colleagues. You are each a reflection of your professionalism, leadership, and heart that define Women in Water. The Professional Woman of the Year Award recognizes a female who has excelled in her career, forwarded water or wastewater issues, and made a significant achievement in the industry. The essence of this award is to discover and reward the exceptional women for their leadership, mentorship, and ideas that stand out in our industry. Please join us in celebrating the 2025 Professional Woman of the Year, Mrs. Cindy Ellis of Madison Suburban Utility District. Mrs. Cindy is the general manager of MSUD and has been a staple and guiding light for the past 46 years. Mrs. Cindy started her career as a part-time cashier while she completed her college studies, eventually advancing to assistant general manager in 1988 and general manager in 2010. Cindy always leads by example and fosters a workplace culture where every team member feels valued. Congratulations, Miss Cindy. Your nomination highlights the tremendous impact your efforts have at Madison Suburban Utility and in our industry. We are grateful for the opportunity to recognize your hard work and celebrate your influence.
The Patriot Award honors extraordinary individuals, male or female, who exemplify courage, commitment, and dedication in the water and wastewater industry. This recognition is for an individual act as well as cumulative lifetime achievement. Please join us in celebrating this year's Patriot Award winner, Laura White. Laura is the superintendent of Greenville Water Commission, a TAUD board member, and proudly serves as our co-chair of Women in Water. With more than 25 years of service in the industry, Laura has shown unwavering commitment to her utility, her team, and her community. Her leadership was tested and proven during the historic flooding caused by Hurricane Helene, which left Greenville's pump station completely underwater and thousands of customers, along with nearby utilities, without water. With extraordinary leadership and resilience, Laura calmly led her team in immediate response efforts, securing equipment, rebuilding access roads, and coordinating volunteers in emergency management. Through her guidance, water service was restored to nearly all customers in just 6 days. Since then, Laura has continued to advocate for recovery resources and emergency preparedness, hosting workshops to help other utilities be better prepared for similar crises. Her strength, humility, and service have made a lasting impact on the industry. Congratulations, Laura. Your courage, faith, and dedication exemplify the very heart of what the Patriot Award stands for. The Trailblazer Award is to honor women who have broken glass ceilings in their industry. Originally proposed by our late and beloved TAUD Executive Director, Bob Freudenthal, the Trailblazer Award celebrates a woman who is paving the way for others in our field through innovation, initiative, or breaking new ground. This year's honoree has shown what it means to lead by example, to open doors for others, and to make a lasting difference. Please help us in recognizing Miss Jane Leatherland of Humboldt Utilities as our 2025 Trailblazer Award recipient. Jane began her career in the UK, building a foundation in lab analysis before moving to the US, where she spent 16 years at Metro Denver Wastewater. Her path from lab technician to leadership, now managing 2 treatment plants in Tennessee, reflects both her technical excellence and unwavering drive. Jane led a $25 million plant upgrade at Humboldt Utilities and continues to champion collaboration, inclusion, and professional growth. She's a respected mentor, a trusted leader, and an advocate for women in the industry, sharing her insights on platforms like the Water Break podcast. From Yorkshire Labs to Tennessee leadership, Jane's career is a testament to curiosity, integrity, and fearless commitment to progress. She's not just breaking ground, she's paving the way for others to follow. Congratulations, Jane. Thank you for being our trailblazer. Yeah. I think we all need a moment for the tears to dry up a little bit. Okay.
Okay, we're going to draw for door prizes. And as you've seen, most of the afternoon, we had our sponsors that had donated prizes, and we appreciate that. And I just wanted to recognize a couple others that we did not actually get on the screen, but Grassroots Planning and Consulting, Divco Data, Frost Insurance, and Hawkins. We absolutely appreciate all of the donations. So we're going to draw. everyone have a ticket? Does everyone have a ticket? If you do not, raise your hand. Okay, the tickets are still outside, so let's go grab that real quick. And I forgot to add South Blunt Utility District also brought us a door prize, so thank you very much. Anybody else that did not get a ticket, raise your hand. We'll make sure everybody has one before we draw. Okay, we'll make sure that Casey mixes those up really well. Okay, first number is 984. Last three digits, 984. Come on up. Up here and pick you out a door prize. The next one is last three digits are 972. 972. Okay. Got the front row winning today. This one is 2004. 2004. Last four digits. 2004. Do we have that one? 2004. Last four digits. Okay. 2024. Last four digits. 2024. Yay. 994. Last three digits. 994. 994. Okay. 1930. 1930. Here we go. Winner. 2036. Last four digits. 2036. How we doing? 1982. 1982. There we go. 1977. 1977. You make sure I don't run out of prizes. Yeah. 2010. 2010. Last four digits. 2010. 2010. 2027. 2027. Oh, there we go. 1928. 1928. 1983. 1983. 1942. 1927. All right, we're going back to the 2000s again. 2028. 2028. 2028. 2007. Winner. 2002. I know. 2003. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So we still have prizes. 2031. 1939, 1939. 1961. 2000. 2000. Okay. 1936. 1987. 1999. Party like it's 1999. Oh, actually, we have another one. Who had 1999? Anyone? 1959. 1989. Do you want to? How many you got? Okay, let's do that.
Oh, no. Ladies, we all, on the behalf of the Women in Water Committee, just want to say thank you so much. You've taken time out of your busy schedule to come and fill our cups, and we certainly hope that you walk away today with your cups filled. We appreciate you. We hope you feel inspired and go out and continue to make a great big difference. And we ask that you fill out your survey cards on the table. If you have any recommendations, we would love to hear them. Thank y'all so much and have a great afternoon. I was like, okay, here's my file. Here's my file. And I was like,